Have you ever felt like you're being played, but you can't quite put your finger on how? It's an unsettling feeling, isn't it? You might be the target of dark psychology, a set of tactics designed to manipulate and control you, often without you even realizing it's happening. Today, we're going to pull back the curtain on these hidden techniques, not so you can use them, but so you can recognize them, protect yourself, and maintain control over your own mind and decisions. By the end of this video, you'll be equipped with the knowledge to spot these tricks from a mile away. Let's start with one of the most common and insidious tricks. This is a form of psychological manipulation where someone makes you question your own sanity, your memory, or your perception of reality. They'll say things like, "That never happened," or "You're being too sensitive," or "You're imagining things." It starts small. Maybe they deny saying something you clearly remember. Over time, these denials and distortions become more frequent and more significant. The goal is to erode your confidence in yourself, making you more dependent on the manipulator for your sense of reality. You start to think, maybe I am crazy. Maybe I am overreacting. This confusion makes you easier to control. The key to spotting gaslighting is to trust your gut. If a conversation leaves you feeling confused, anxious, and second-guessing your own mind, take a step back. Write things down as they happen. A journal can be your best friend, a concrete record that confirms your experiences and helps you see the pattern of denial. Next up is a technique called love bombing. This one feels amazing at first, which is what makes it so dangerous. Imagine meeting someone who showers you with intense affection, constant compliments, and extravagant gifts right from the start. They tell you you're their soulmate after just a few weeks. It feels like a fairy tale, but it's often a calculated strategy. The manipulator overwhelms you with positive attention to make you feel indebted and to create a powerful bond very quickly. This initial high makes it much harder to see the red flags that follow. Once they feel they have you hooked, the switch flips. The affection might be withdrawn as a form of punishment, leaving you desperate to get back to that initial perfect phase. To protect yourself, be wary of affection that feels too intense. Healthy relationships build over time. They don't explode into perfection overnight. Pay attention to whether the affection is consistent or if it's used as a tool to get you to do things their way. Now, let's talk about the silent treatment. We've all probably experienced a mild form of this, but in dark psychology, it's a powerful weapon. This isn't just someone needing a little space after an argument. It's a deliberate and prolonged refusal to communicate. They ignore your calls, your texts, and your presence. They treat you as if you're invisible. This tactic is designed to punish you and create a sense of anxiety and desperation. You start to feel isolated, unimportant, and desperate to resolve the situation, often by giving in to whatever the manipulator wants. It's a cruel form of emotional blackmail. When you're on the receiving end, the silence is deafening, and you might be willing to do anything to break it. The best defense is to recognize it for what it is: a control tactic. Don't beg or plead for their attention. Instead, use that time to focus on yourself and connect with friends or family who value you. Show them that their silence doesn't give them power over your emotional state. Another subtle trick is what psychologists call foot-in-the-door technique. This starts with a small, easy-to-agree-to request. For example, a coworker might ask, "Can you just look over this one-page report for me? It'll only take a minute." Because it's a small ask, you agree. A week later, they come back with a much larger request. "Could you help me finish this entire 50-page project? You were so helpful last time." You're more likely to say yes to the big requests because you've already said yes to the small one. You've subconsciously created a commitment. Manipulators use this to slowly escalate their demands, getting you to agree to things you would have initially refused. To counter this, always consider the bigger picture. When someone makes a small request, ask yourself if you'd be comfortable with a larger, related request down the line. It's perfectly okay to say no, even to the small things, if you suspect it's leading to something more. Setting boundaries early is crucial. Let's move on to guilt tripping. This is a classic manipulation tactic. The manipulator will make you feel responsible for their unhappiness or their problems. They might say things like, "If you really cared about me, you would do this." Or they'll sigh dramatically and say, "Don't worry about me, I'll be fine," in a tone that clearly means the opposite. They are experts at playing the victim. The goal is to leverage your empathy and sense of responsibility to make you do what they want. You end up feeling guilty and obligated, even if their request is unreasonable. Resisting a guilt trip requires strong emotional boundaries. Remind yourself that you are not responsible for another adult's happiness. You can offer support, but you should not be controlled by their emotional drama. A simple, firm response like, "I'm sorry you feel that way, but my decision stands," can be incredibly effective. Then there's the tactic of isolating you from your support system. A manipulator knows that your friends and family are your lifeline. They give you perspective and support, which makes you harder to control. So, the manipulator will work to cut you off from them. They might criticize your friends, saying they're a bad influence. They might create drama every time you plan to see your family, making it so exhausting that you start to avoid them. They want to become the center of your universe, the only person you turn to for advice and validation. This isolation makes you completely dependent on them. If you notice someone is constantly trying to drive a wedge between you and your loved ones, that is a massive red flag. Make an extra effort to maintain those connections. Your support network is your strongest defense against manipulation. Another clever trick is using jargon or overly complex language to confuse you. This often happens in professional or financial settings. Someone might use a barrage of technical terms and acronyms to make a topic seem so complicated that you feel stupid asking questions. They overwhelm you with information, not to educate you, but to intimidate you into agreeing with them. You might just nod along, not wanting to look ignorant. This allows them to push through their agenda without any real scrutiny from you. The defense here is simple but requires courage. Ask questions, say, "Can you explain that in simpler terms?" Or, "I don't understand what that means. Can you break it down for me?" A person who genuinely wants to help will be happy to clarify. A manipulator will often become impatient or dismissive because you're disrupting their strategy. Finally, let's look at feigned ignorance or confusion. This is when someone pretends not to understand what you're asking of them to avoid responsibility. For example, you might ask your partner to handle a specific chore, and they repeatedly forget or do it incorrectly, forcing you to do it yourself. They might say, "Oh, I'm just so bad at that," or "I didn't know you meant for me to do it that way." It looks like incompetence, but it's a passive-aggressive way of getting out of doing something they don't want to do. Over time, you just stop asking because it's easier to do it yourself. That's exactly what they want. To combat these, be clear, direct, and hold them accountable. Don't let them off the hook. You can say, "Let's walk through this together right now, so there's no confusion next time." Recognizing these dark psychology tricks is the first and most important step to reclaiming your power. It's not about being paranoid. It's about being aware. Healthy relationships are built on respect, honesty, and open communication, not control and manipulation. If you recognize any of these patterns in your life, know that it's not your fault. And if you're feeling overwhelmed, please consider talking to a trusted friend, family member, or a mental health professional. They can provide support and guidance. Thank you so much for watching. I hope this has been If you found this video helpful, please give it a thumbs up and subscribe for more content on understanding human behavior. Stay safe and stay aware.